Good afternoon and welcome to the Committee on Housing's 1 p.m. hearing. It's Thursday, April 8th, 2021. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, April 13th in room 225, and a public notice will be posted on the legislature's website. For all the people participating remotely, all testifier audio will be muted and video disabled until shortly before it is your turn to testify. If there are temporary technical glitches during your turn to testify, we may have to move on to the next person due to time constraints. We appreciate your understanding and remind you that the committee has your written testimony. At this time, I'd like to welcome and introduce our Vice Chair, Senator Drew Kanuha, as well as Committee Member Senator Carl Rhodes. And I think I see Senators Moriwaki and Favela also.
That's for the hearing now. Okay. Yeah. Hi.
We have 3 items on today's agenda, members. We have Governor's Messages 526, 556, and 668. The first item is Governor's Message 526, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Directors of the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation gubernatorial nominee Don Mendy for a term to expire 6/30/2025. And we have our first testifier is HHFDC in support.
Thank you very much, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Denise Matsubara for HHFDC. We strongly support this nomination of Don Mendy for our board. Mr. Mendy is the current board chair and is highly qualified to serve another term on this board. He has over 2 decades of banking and financial management experience. He currently is at the HFS Federal Credit Union lending, and he's a manager there. He's worked for some of the top banks in the state of Hawaii, including Bank of Hawaii, CPB, ASB, and Hawaii National Bank. He also served as the Deputy Director for the Department of Research and Development for the County of Hawaii under the legendary Mayor Billy Kinoi. So he understands how governments work and he knows exactly what it takes to get things done. Mr. Mendy also has a significant record of service to the community as he serves on several nonprofit organization boards, such as the Japanese Chamber of Commerce, the Boys and Girls Clubs, Big Island, and he's also the Vice President of the board of the Big Island Housing Foundation, where he acquired a lot of his knowledge on housing. HHFDC respectfully requests that this committee support Mr. Mendy's nomination. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Okay, if not, I'd also like to note at this time written testimony in support from EAH Housing, from Craig Takamine, and from John DeFries. And it looks like we have the nominee here today, Don Mendy. Don, would you like to make any remarks to the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me? Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the committee for hopefully giving me this opportunity to continue to serve on the board. I think the HHFDC plays a critical role in affordable housing, and I'd just like to again say thank you, and hopefully we get the opportunity.
Thank you. Members, do we have any questions for the nominee? Okay, if not, I just have a couple. Don,
Yeah.
I'm going to read to you a quote that should be familiar to you from HRS Chapter 226-19B, which says 3B, which says, "It shall be the policy of this state to effectively accommodate the housing needs of Hawaii's people." Now, as you know, Don, the median home price here in Oahu has set a new record for the third straight month at $950,000 for a single-family home. If confirmed, you'll be on the HHFDC board for over 4 more years until June 30th, 2025. What do you think that HHFDC should do so that the state can accommodate the housing needs of Hawaii's people?
Well, I think it's important to continue to build private and public partnerships with the developers and work with legislators to help, I guess, craft laws that'll hopefully help us execute that mission. Because I think it's HHFDC can't do it alone. I think it'll involve partnerships. So we'll try to hopefully work with the partners, with whether it's public or private, and hopefully draft or craft policies that will help be effective in the future.
If confirmed, can you assure this committee that on June 30th, 2025, we'll have a path to end the housing shortage in Hawaii, that we'll be following a plan, and that we will be in the course of producing enough units to meet the demand for the state of Hawaii?
I would be hopeful that we could definitely work on a plan. I'm thinking, we should have something.
Okay. 4 years is not a long time, but it's also not a short time. And as you know, we've been in a state of housing shortage for decades. And I guess my fundamental question is, when will that change? Can you assure this committee that that change will be happening now?
I definitely would be willing to listen to what the different partners has to say, and come up with a plan, working with staff and legislatures and developers, and see how we can move forward.
So speaking of plans, as you know, Mr. Mendy, I've introduced SB1 this year, as I have in previous years, the Aloha Homes Plan for affordable, locally owned homes for all. It's not probably the only plan. Maybe you can come up with a better one. But what is your feedback on this plan that the legislature has put forward?
Regarding the Aloha Home Plan, definitely. We want to take a look at it, and try to see what parts work, and if they don't, maybe we need more information. I think we need to do more research, and I think there might be. I think we need a lot of more information.
Your agency did commission a report that was completed earlier this year about the Aloha Homes Plan. What more information do you need? I know when we spoke, you mentioned that you wanted to come in front of the commissioners and relay some information. So, definitely want to hear from you, and then, want to take a better look at it. Okay, thank you. And I see Senator Moriwaki. Did you have a question for the nominee?
Yes. Yes, thank you, Chair. I noticed, Mr. Mendy, that you have been the chair and of the board. I suppose that's for this past term. So what has HHFDC done, or what kinds of plans or efforts were done for increasing the stock of affordable housing? And, you say a plan going forward, but what can we see that you've done in the past, and what can be built upon going forward?
Well, one of the objectives, we're looking at the rules, is we try to, one of the objectives is try to speed up and to bring to market units, as well as to best utilize the funding that we have. So we're trying to take a look at that now, and I know we're looking at the rules and trying to, it hasn't come out yet, the QAP, but I think, we've been looking at that.
But is there an overall plan? I mean, like fixing the rules is one thing, in terms of addressing different problem areas, but in terms of an overall more comprehensive view of how we actually increase the stock of affordable housing, whether it's rentals or for sale.
I don't think that there's like an overall plan. I think that's something that we need to take a look at. And that would be definitely one of my goals, to come up with a more defined plan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Do we have any further questions for the nominee? Okay, if not, thank you, Mr. Mendy. Our next item of business today is Governor's Message number 556, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Directors of the Hawaii Public Housing Authority gubernatorial nominee George DeMello for a term to expire 6/30/2024. And we have one registered testifier for this measure. It is HPHA in support.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, member of the committee. Thank you very much for this opportunity to testify. The HPHA stands in a very strong support of this nominee. Mr. George DeMello is a resident of the Housing Authority. He has been an advocate. He's a person that's been on our board, and he brings a fresh perspective, intelligent perspective, and equally as important, speaks from experience and speaks on behalf of the tenants that we serve. He not only serves in our board, but also on the RAB, which is Resident Board Associations, communicate and gets the feedback from them. On a personal level, I've been working with Director DeMello for a few years now. I found him to be frank, honest, straightforward, and really ask the hard questions and convey to the rest of our community and to the rest of our tenants what transpired, and also bring to us a perspective anytime there is a rule change or anything like that. For that reason and many more, the HPHA stands in very strong support. And we thank you again very much for scheduling this nominee to be heard. Aloha.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Okay. If not, is the nominee with us on this meeting today?
Not available, Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right. In that case, we'll move to the third item on our agenda today, which is GM 668, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Directors of the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation gubernatorial nominee Sean Sasaki for a term to expire 6/30/2024. And we have one speaker who is testifying in support today, and that is HHFDC.
Thank you very much, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Denise Matsubara for HHFDC. We strongly support the nomination of Mr. Sean Sasaki to this board. Mr. Sasaki has a wealth of experience in construction management and project controls. He is currently the project manager, financial controls for Na'ali'i Consulting and Sales. This is not only an 8A company, but a Super 8 owned by a native Hawaiian, and Mr. Sasaki himself is a native Hawaiian. So he will be a welcoming asset to this board. His experience in management consulting, in facility support and environmental services will really come in handy, and HHFDC respectfully requests the committee to support his nomination. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Okay, at this time, I'd also like to note that the committee is in receipt of written testimony and support for the nominee from EAH Housing, the Michaels Organization, and an individual, Carrie Alu. Okay, and I see we have the testifier, or the nominee here today. Would you like to make a statement before the committee?
Yes, I'd like to thank the chair and the committee for considering me for this board. My background is primarily in engineering. I think as Ms. Matsubara testified, I have a pretty broad background. My career has been focused a lot on project management with focus on performance measurement, project controls, and those types of things. So I feel that I can bring something to the table and help this board reach its mission.
Thank you very much. Members, do we have any questions for the nominee? Okay, if not, I'm going to just repeat some of the questions that we asked to the previous nominee. And just to refresh your memory again, HRS Chapter 226-19 states, "It shall be the policy of this state to effectively accommodate the housing needs of Hawaii's people." And as we already discussed, the median home price on Oahu is now $900. You're being considered for a 3-year term on HHFDC. What would you like to see HHFDC undertake in order to carry out this mission?
Well, I think during my time, I would definitely like to, as the previous nominee said, come up with a plan and try to develop something so that there is a roadmap going forward to address the housing shortage that we have here. And hopefully, that'll affect the market and help bring that median price down and make housing more affordable for all of our community members.
Can you assure this committee that by June 30th, 2024, that plan will have been presented to us?
I can assure the community members that we will definitely try to, at least, and make progress to try and have a plan in place, yes.
Thank you. Are there any other changes that you'd like to see made so that we can be assured that by June 30th, 2024, we'll be on our way to ending the housing shortage here in Hawaii?
Specific plans at this time, I don't have any. I would welcome the opportunity to get involved with the board and find out more information and use that to come up with some specific goals to put in place.
Okay, and again, I'll ask you about the Aloha Homes Plan, which we've put forward here at the legislature for several years now, that your agency recently commissioned a study on. Do you have any thoughts or feedback on that potential plan?
I think there are some aspects that can be adopted. I would need to myself dive into it a little bit more, get more detail, and I think that something presented to the board would be very helpful as well. It's so that certain the good aspects of it can be adopted and make changes to things that may or may not work here in Hawaii.
Okay, thank you. Members, do we have any further questions for the nominee? Okay, Senator Moriwaki.
Hi, aloha, Sasaki. With your extensive background in project management and construction, do you have any ideas on what you might bring to the board? We are looking at affordable housing, increasing the stock, either rentals or for sale housing. Might you have any ideas that you bring as a fresh perspective on what we might do to increase that? To meet our
Initially, I tried to come into this very open-minded and work with the board members that exist as well as the agency directors to see what plans are out there, what might possibly be available to us, and see what I can bring with my experience in industry and some of the contacts I have to try to come up with some out-of-the-box ideas.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Members, any further questions? Okay, if not, we're going to take a recess and we'll be back for decision making. Okay, welcome back from recess. This is the Thursday, April 8th, 1 p.m. hearing of the Committee on Housing. The members having conferred, I want to first state that we're considering today 3 governor's nominations, 2 to the HHFDC board and 1 to HPHA. And I just wanted to note for the record that the committee did not receive a governor's message for a 3rd vacancy on the HHFDC board and are disappointed by that. And I also wanted to note that this committee, I think there's a statewide consensus that the housing shortage is a severe issue that's been crippling the state for many years now. This is not a new issue. Indeed, the language that we talked about today in the Hawaii State Planning Act, HRS Chapter 226-19, was passed in 1978, which, it was before either myself or Vice Chair Kanuha were born. And so while these nominees are well qualified and we look forward to supporting them today, based on the discussions that we've had here in the committee, it's going to be incumbent on them in the next term of their office to execute this mission, that the statutory mission that we all have, whether it's the agencies or the legislature, because we are all part of the state of Hawaii. And it's the expectation of this committee that we will see significant change and progress within the next few years, because this problem is only getting worse. And if the worst economic crisis and unemployment rates in generations have not been enough to bring down the cost of housing in Hawaii, then nothing will. Nothing naturally occurring will, and we certainly need change. Okay, so the chair's recommendation for all 3 GMs, 526, 556, and 668, will be to advise and consent. And as I mentioned, we'll be noting in the committee report the urgent need to take significant action in order to end the housing crisis and the housing shortage here in Hawaii. Okay, so again, GM 526, 556, and 668, chair's recommendation is to advise and consent. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on GM 526, 556, and GM 668. Vice Chair votes aye on all 3. Senator Moriwaki.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes.
Aye on all 3.
And Senator Favela is excused again. Those are for all 3 of the GMs. Chair, you have 4 ayes, recommendations adopted.
Thank you very much, members. There being no further business, this hearing is adjourned.